right, it's a beautiful Sunday evening, day number 4 in the month of May 2025. Good evening and welcome to Iron Port here on Metropolitan Television. Iron Port is proudly brought to you by the Ghana Revenue Authority, GDLC PLC, Serene Insurance, Ghana Link Network Services, Meridian Port Services, MPS, and indeed Phoenix Insurance. The show is proudly powered by the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority-GPHA. And our media partner on this journey of a lifetime is the Business and Financial Times, the BNFT. Now, if you want to have a grasp of all that transpired on the show tonight, make a date and grab the Thursday edition of the BNFT, and you'll be able to see all that happened here on the show tonight. As usual, we're going to be streaming live on our social media pages. On Facebook, we are live at Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority. Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority. Still on Facebook, we are live at Port of Tema. And on YouTube, we are streaming live at Iron Port. Iron Port. Now, we shall be getting interactive with you, and so all you have to do is sit back, relax, grab your phones, and send us your messages and comments via our dedicated WhatsApp line, which is 0538-037353. 0538-037353. Now, when the time is ripe, and I pick signals from the production team, we shall activate the phone lines for you to call in and contribute to the discussion. My name is Kennedy Mona. We are going for a quick break. When we return, we'll continue with the show. Please stay with us.
Energy brings you quality choices with Goil Super XP, available in many Goil stations nationwide. It is fortified with special additives that help your engine perform better and use less fuel. Branch into a Goil station today and energize your ride with Goil Super XP, compatible with most vehicles. Goil Super XP, Wufilia, huh? Wubefee. Goil, good energy. Yeah.
Electricity, then pay your taxes. Yeah. Our taxes, our future.
Because you see, without our taxes, we wouldn't have good roads, good schools, better hospitals, street lights, and other very important social amenities. When we pay our taxes, we give our children free and quality education. Talga, my money too small. Why should I pay my tax? Look, small. Salifo, it doesn't matter how small or big your business or income is. You still have to pay your taxes. The little taxes from each and every one of us, when put together, could give your community clean water. Or that deprived school with tables and chairs. Please pay your taxes. It is your responsibility. It is your civic duty. It is the law.
MPS Terminal 3 is Africa's new state-of-the-art container terminal at Tema Port. For manufacturers, agro-processors and traders, the new port means business can be done faster. This infrastructure boost will improve Ghana's port handling capacity, connect more trading routes, and oil the engine of growth for the economy, creating greater opportunities across all sectors as Africa's markets merge and become the largest trading bloc globally. MPS, we connect, you thrive.
Business and life can be like the sea sometimes. Sometimes serene, sometimes calm, sometimes turbulent, and at times it brings the unexpected. However it is like, trust Phoenix Insurance for your home, car, business, and marine insurance needs. Call 0302 246 319 or 0243 690 492.
At Phoenix, you experience a delightful service delivered with wisdom.
All right, welcome back. So it's now time for us to take a look at happenings in the port and shipping industry during the last week.
The Port of Takoradi has a new director following the official handing over of the position to Captain James Richmond Quayson. He succeeds Peter Amobediakon, who served in the role since 2023. A brief ceremony held under the auspices of the Director General of the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority, Brigadier General Paul Seydou Tanya-Kulono, marked the leadership transition. Captain Quayson brings decades of operational experience to his new position. Prior to his appointment, he served as General Manager Special Duties at GPHA. He has also held the position of Harbour Master at both the Port of Tema and the Port of Takoradi. His appointment is expected to further drive Takoradi Port's strategic development as it strengthens its role as a key hub for bulk cargo, oil and gas services, and maritime logistics along Ghana's Western Corridor. In his remarks, outgoing Director Peter Amobediakon expressed confidence in the position he leaves Takoradi Port in and called on management and staff to offer their full cooperation to Captain Quayson to ensure continuity and further progress.
I'd like also to congratulate Captain Richmond Quayson for his appointment to the Director of Port. I ask that you support him as he moves this port to a new era.
On his part, Captain James Richmond Quayson assured that he is prepared for the task ahead and urged management and staff to work together with him in repositioning Takoradi Port as a vital player in the international trade and logistics ecosystem.
Convey my gratitude to His Excellency for deeming it fit, for giving me that honor, and I will deliver. I have come to work with you, management staff. I have come to deliver with you. Team Takoradi, we are one. To our able Director General.
Director General of GPHA, Brigadier General Paul Seydou Tanya-Kulono, reaffirmed the authority's commitment to the growth of both ports, assuring that Takoradi will receive equal attention and support as Tema. He encouraged the port's management to rally behind the new director to advance the authority's collective mandate.
Your predecessor made some requests about funding and other things. I'm looking at it, and I want to assure you that we will see whatever we have to do.
The Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority has officially commissioned a new office complex for the Ghana Dock Labour Company Limited in Takoradi. Construction of the facility began in 2022, aligned with GDLC's core mandate of providing the port with an efficient and reliable pool of casual labor. Speaking at the commissioning ceremony, the Director General of the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority, Brigadier General Paul Seydou Tanya-Kulono, described the event as more than a mere unveiling. He acknowledged GDLC's long-standing contribution in supplying disciplined, efficient, and dedicated personnel to both GPHA and the wider port community.
The construction of this office is a clear testament to your dedication, not only to efficient operations, but also to the dignity and well-being of our workers. This new facility will undoubtedly enhance coordination, improve service delivery, and provide better working environment for both your staff and clients.
The Managing Director of GDLC, Elisha Odum, expressed gratitude to GPHA and the engineering department for their support. He emphasized that the building is not only a symbol of GDLC's enduring partnership with GPHA and its clients, but also a firm commitment to prioritizing worker welfare.
Most importantly, to our non-permanent staff, it's at the back of you that we are having these projects done. This is the workers' house. It belongs to you, and we are hoping that you use it for the progress of the company.
Board Chairman of GDLC, Rodrigo Kulu, highlighted the significant progress GDLC has made over the years, noting that the new office complex stands as a tangible symbol of the company's advancement and ongoing commitment to growth.
It is the expectation of the board that this facility will serve its purpose and result in increased productivity in the Takoradi office operations, especially as it continues to expand.
Fire! Safety first! Fire! Prevention pays! Fire! We rescue and salvage! Fire! Fire!
The Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority joined the international community in commemorating the 2025 World Day for Safety and Health at Work, with this year's activities highlighting the impact of digitalization on workers' health and safety. Ahead of the main event, GPHA organized a week-long sensitization program across the port community, educating stakeholders on critical safety measures and the safe use of emerging technologies in the workplace. During the official ceremony, the Fire and Safety Department was joined by the Director of Port, Tibon Zuma, other management members, and selected staff from the various departments. Speaking at the event, Director of Port, Tibon Zuma, emphasized the need to integrate health and safety discussions into weekly operations meetings to help avert incidents and prevent accidents at the port.
For port operations, we meet every week. So in the operations meeting, is it possible that we can introduce electronic means to communicate matters of health and safety as part of the operations meeting every week?
Fire and Safety Manager Cynthia Ajaklo underscored the importance of prevention as the most effective approach to safeguarding workers' well-being.
No matter how advanced safety tools are, they are ineffective without a safety-first mindset. True safety begins with everyday actions like wearing helmets, checking equipment, and staying alert. It's a daily personal choice. For me, scanning for hazards in a new place, in a new space, is second nature.
Adding to the discourse, the corporate IT manager Justice Akodia highlighted the various digital solutions currently deployed across port operations and discussed their potential safety implications.
We have the ACVL implementation, which focuses on the worthiness of trucks. And we all understand that if these trucks that come to the port are not port worthy, there is a potential for breakdown. There are potential for accidents, and we have port users, including ourselves, in the port. So management thought it wise to collaborate with ACVL to introduce that innovation so that they certify these trucks so that when you are not port worthy, you are not allowed into the port.
Meanwhile, Senior Medical Officer at the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority, Dr. Kisi Domprofori, shed light on workplace ergonomics, drawing attention to the health risks associated with poor postures and prolonged computer use. A brief but impactful drama performance by members of the Fire and Safety Department also illustrated the dangers of poor sitting posture behind computers, further reinforcing the day's message.
Somewhere last year, I had a gentleman from one of the departments, I won't mention. So he kept coming to the clinic with back pain. The gentleman is in his mid-30s, so I don't expect a man in his mid-30s to come with so much back pain. So we did our routine checks, we did our x-rays, we did our scans. They were all quite normal. So I asked him, what does he do? He says he's into graphic design. So you realize that graphic designers sit for prolonged periods on the screen to design. And I asked him, what chair do you use? He says I use a regular chair. I said, that will not work. Because sitting on a regular desk for prolonged periods is what has resulted in your back pain. So what we did in short was to recommend that they buy him an ergonomic chair, which was bought. And from that time till now, I haven't seen him at my clinic. So it means that really these things do work.
Deputy Port Fire and Safety Manager Andrew Taynor rounded off the program with a call for continuous education and adherence to best practices in both digital and physical workplace environments.
In order to promote a good safety culture in an organization, you need the commitment from leadership. And DP has demonstrated that very profoundly. And for me, that's a key takeaway because that is going to translate down to those down there. When they see leadership committed to health and safety, they will also be driven to follow as such.
A team from the Ghana Shippers Authority, led by the authority's Chief Executive Officer, Professor Ransford Jampo, has paid a working visit to key institutions operating within Ghana's air cargo trade ecosystem. The visit, which formed part of GSA's ongoing stakeholder engagement initiative, included interactions with the Ghana Airports Company Limited, Aviance Ghana Limited, Swissports Ghana Limited, and freight forwarders operating at the country's airports. The discussions focused on issues of mutual interest and explored ways to enhance Ghana's international trade competitiveness by addressing high operational charges, improving cargo clearance procedures, and reducing the cost of doing business. Professor Jampo's first stop was at the Ghana Airports Company Limited, where he met with the Managing Director Yvonne Nana Efriye-Opare. She affirmed her commitment to ensuring that Ghana's airports are managed efficiently for the benefit of shippers and service providers alike.
We have a relationship with the Shippers Authority. They are here today to talk with us, have talks with us, and just align on our operating procedures and any other issues that we may have to address. We've had a good meeting.
At Aviance Ghana Limited, the GSA CEO was received by Managing Director Mark Kamis, who applauded the authority's dialogue-driven approach to resolving bottlenecks in the air freight sector. He revealed that Aviance is implementing a number of initiatives aimed at improving working conditions at their terminal.
We need to come together. There'll be dialogues, there'll be discussions, but I really like the collaboration and I certainly like the approach. So we found that quite refreshing, so thank you for that.
At Swissports Ghana Limited, Managing Director Gerald Sacklin highlighted a substantial investment made to ensure safe, efficient, and internationally compliant turnaround of cargo at their facility. He also raised concerns about Ghana's declining export volumes, a trend he attributed partly to the high cost of local production for exporters, which in his view is undermining the country's ability to attract many international cargo lines.
Operational excellence, obviously, in terms of the investment into equipment and machineries that we made, we try to keep a very high standard. So yes, we know we are probably the most expensive ground handler at cargo, but we feel that the service we give to the shippers reflects the investment we've made into our warehouse and the quality we can give them in terms of service, having their cargo quickly, getting invoices quickly, a good level of customer service, a low level of damage, missing cargo. So we're really proud of what we can do in that area.
Professor Jampo also held engagements with freight forwarders operating at the airport to gain first-hand insight into their operational challenges. The dialogue aimed to identify areas of collaboration that would lead to improved service delivery and ultimately reduce the cost of doing business for the average Ghanaian. The delegation from GSA held additional closed-door meetings with these stakeholders, allowing for candid discussions on the practical steps needed to reposition Ghana's air cargo sector as an efficient and attractive gateway for global trade.
Ghana Shippers Authority exists to protect the interest of shippers. So here we are talking about the many charges that are slapped on the kinds of things that they try to ship. And so we would fight for the ordinary shipper, but we must also not do so at the expense of those who provide shipping services for all of us.
All right, so those were happenings in the port and shipping industry over the last week. It's now time for us to take the word or phrase of the day. And remember, the word or phrase of the day segment has been fashioned to bring you up to speed with the terminologies and jargons we use in the shipping industry. Today, we're taking a look at transit zone. Transit zone.
Transit zones. These are set up in a port of entry in a coastal country and serve as distribution and storage centers for neighboring countries that are landlocked or lack adequate cargo handling facilities. Goods passing through a transit zone are normally not subject to any customs formalities, duties, or import restrictions of the host country.
And straight on to our health and safety tip for the week. And this week, we're taking a look at parking. Parking.
Parking. Mobile plant and equipment should only be parked on firm level ground. The handbrake or other parking brake should be properly applied on all mobile plant and equipment when they are parked. Additional appropriate precautions, such as the use of chalks, should be taken to prevent unintended movement if it is found to be necessary to park on a slope.
All right, so welcome back. We are zooming into our discussion proper tonight, and tonight we are taking a look at the impact of digitalization on the health and safety of port workers. Coming on the heels of the 2025 Day for the Safety and Health at Work. Now, this year's focus has been on the impact of digitalization on port health workers in the port industry. And so a series of activities had been lined up. Indeed, some of these activities took place. You saw the news item there. Where the Fire and Safety Department, held that particular seminar to sensitize and educate the staff of GPHA on the need to practice utmost health and safety whilst at it. And so we've assembled a team tonight to take a look at what this is all about and also perhaps unpack the link between digitalization and health and safety, so to speak. So it gives me pleasure this evening to introduce to us, to my immediate left, Dr. Kese Domprey-Ofori, who is our Senior Medical Officer and Clinical Coordinator, Health Services Department, Ghana Port and Harbours Authority-GPHA. Good evening, Sir Doc, and welcome. Absolutely. To my extreme left, we have in the studios Mr. Andrews Taino, who is Deputy Fire and Safety Manager, Port of Tema. So I'm sure you saw him there a while ago on your screen, in that news item. And also in the studios is Mr. Justice Awosomviri Akodia, who is the Corporate IT Manager, Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority. Good evening, sir, and welcome.
Good evening. Thank you for having me.
All right. So let's take a look at, let's go to Mr. Taino straight away and find out from you if you can walk us through some of the key messages that you sought to, as it were, trumpet on during this year's lineup of activities for the 2025 World Day for Health and Safety at Work.
Okay. So just to give you some few statistics.
Yes.
Just to highlight the significance of the event. So according to ILO, it estimates that about 6,500 people die every day.
6,500?
500 people die every day. That's staggering. That translates about 2.7 million deaths annually. That's for fatal accidents. But for the non-fatal, we have about 374 million workers dying as a result of work-related accidents every year.
Every year?
Yes. And the economic impact is very huge, about 4% of GDP annually. That's about $2.8 trillion US. I believe you could translate that into cities.
Yeah.
A lot of containers is going to house that. So actually, ILO decided to set a date to bring to fore or promote health and safety in the workplace. So they set a date on the 28th every year, of April every year, to promote safety in the workplace. So this year, the theme was focused on how AI and digitalization is transforming the face of health and safety. So as a port, since we are also driving towards digitalization, and mostly the majority of the tool that we use for this digitalization process, that's quite a mouthful.
It's a mouthful, absolutely. Yes, it is.
Yes, it's computers and tablets and the use of these handheld devices.
Yes.
So we realized that people spend much time working behind these pieces, and most often they are exposed to ergonomic hazards. I mean, sitting posture. So we decided to focus on these key messages on how to sit properly, acquire good posture behind your PC, so that you don't get yourself injured, because mostly poor posture results in back pain, lower back pain. I think doctor will highlight these areas for us extensively.
Right.
And about 60 to 70% of adults are affected by lower back pain as a result of either poor posture behind the PC or incorrect lifting of items. That's
Right.
manual handling. And also 1 out of 5 regular users of the computers are diagnosed for MSDs. That's musculoskeletal disorders.
Okay.
Yes. So it's quite a problem. So we decided to highlight these areas. And that was the key focus of our messages.
Right.
And also how we can prevent distraction with the use of our phones and tablets at the workplaces. Because, you know, the port is an operational area where you have a lot of heavy machines moving around here and there, interacting with people. So if you are not very focused, if you are not attentive of your working environment, you could be hit by these machines. So we decided to focus on these key areas. And I think we started the campaign right from 22nd. 2nd of April.
April, okay.
We started with going from offices to workshops, just to promote or create awareness among staff. They need to sit properly, and also avoid distraction with the use of phones. And we climaxed that was on the 28th, and we were privileged to have
the doctor
and the IT manager to be the key speakers for the program. And it was quite a success. And as we infused the drama into the whole thing, at least we were able to bring out the key points out of the program.
Right.
Yeah, so I would like to use this opportunity to thank them for availing themselves to the speakers for that day. I
Absolutely.
think the substance in their speeches were very poignant, and really appreciate that. I also want to appreciate the DG, Brigadier General Kulono.
Kulono.
For the resources that he committed into this program.
Right.
He actually supported the program throughout its inception till we climaxed it.
Right.
And also the Director of Port, Mr. Zuma. He was there. He actually sat throughout the program.
Right.
He gave a nice speech. I think as a department, we work on that.
Right.
So that we can promote and create awareness within the small platforms that we have.
Absolutely.
In the organization. So I'd like to thank him very much. And what he did demonstrated safety leadership. And that is key.
Right.
Because it's one of the key elements to promote safety culture within an organization. So we'd like to thank him very much for that commitment.
Awesome.
And I believe that that's the drive now.
Yes.
We want to instill that safety leadership among the various levels of the organization. So that's what we seek to do. And it's good he has set the tone for us to engage in that campaign.
Right. Okay, so let me come to Mr. Akodia and find out from you if you can explain to us some of the digital solutions currently in use at the ports, to reshape the daily operations.
Okay, thank you very much, Ken. Let me start by appreciating you for such a platform to be able to educate not just the people within the port community,
yes, sir,
but the whole world.
Absolutely.
Let me also extend my compliments to the staff of IT,
right,
Takoradi, Tema, and headquarters.
Right.
IT has been at the forefront of the deployment of several digital solutions, most of which originally were not intended deliberately to deal with safety issues, but over time have played significant roles in addressing most safety concerns.
Yes.
Others were also implemented deliberately to be able to handle safety issues. For us in the port, we see safety from several angles. Safety for port users, we mean both staff and then other users of the port. We also talk about safety of the cargoes we handle.
Yes.
Safety of the equipment, the property owned by the authority. And then even the vessels that call our port.
Yeah.
And often we need to understand that these are all interrelated.
Absolutely.
And a problem to one may affect the other. I'm sure we are aware of the explosion in one of the ports in Iran on the 26th. That so far has claimed about 70 lives. And the initial investigation is pointing to the fact that there was some amount of negligence. If someone thought that if something happens to cargo, it will not affect them, look at the results we are facing.
Absolutely.
And so it is important we look at safety from all these angles.
Absolutely.
Over the years, we've implemented quite a number of applications. We have CCTV installations across the entire port. That is supposed to provide surveillance to assist both, all these three areas, vessels that are calling, the port users, our infrastructure, our cargoes, everything. We have drone technology, which is also being deployed, used by the port security to help them to survey the entire port area. We have access control systems that have been implemented to protect users of the port who are within certain enclosures.
Yes.
We have implemented a master terminal, which is a terminal operating system. One good thing about it for the Port Fire and Safety Department is the fact that, of course, the incident that happened in Iran, we are told that it resulted from an explosion of a container carrying hazardous cargo. And one of the things this system application can do is for you to be able to track the locations of all hazardous cargoes in the port. You realize that the port is very big, and so cargoes could be located in several other places. And so this becomes a handy tool to achieve that objective.
Right.
We just had the completion of installation of a vessel traffic management information system.
Okay.
I think by next week, the responsible department may start using it fully.
Right.
And that provides extended surveillance of the port area, the waterfront, so that we'll be able to monitor the movement and track all vessels that are moving through our waters.
Right.
And these are key investments that help us. We have the vehicle tracking system, which is also in place to track several things about our vehicles, our fleet. That also includes our equipment, the distances they are covering, the time spent moving, workload on our drivers, to be able to advise, to help them with their safety needs.
Right.
I think somewhere last year, the latter part of last year, environmental pollution, of course, air pollution has been a problem.
Yeah.
And I think we all want to support the achievement of the Sustainable Development Goals.
Yes.
So management decided to get F-Sense, which is installed in 2 main places in the port to continue to measure the air pollution levels in the port. Let me indicate that these implementations, apart from most of the things I have mentioned in terms of security, because they are digital solutions, of course, Doc is here. I should mention the HMS, which is the Hospital Management System.
Yes.
I remember some years back, if you needed to have care, you had to go through the process of acquiring a physical booklet, which is the patient's record. And you had staple pins, engineering staff, and all of that. And that also took a chunk of the time.
Absolutely.
So what I want to say is that these digital solutions have also reduced the burden of work on employees and the port users. And so they're able to serve people quickly. And so they may not run ragged by the time they close and they are going. So these are some of the solutions and then the reasons we implemented them.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you very much indeed. So let me come to Dr. Kisidonpre and find out from you. You were part of the team, part of the resource persons that spoke during the celebrations over there, as we captured in the video there, and you spoke on ergonomics.
That's right.
First of all, tell us what ergonomics is.
So ergonomics is the science of designing workplaces or workstations
in
such a way that it doesn't cause strain on the worker. So, for example, since we are talking about digitalization, it goes with use of computers.
Right.
So we are sitting behind computers. How are we sitting? How is the monitor of the computer positioned?
Right.
How are our wrists in relation to the mouse or the keyboard? How is the upper back supported?
Right.
And how are the feet supported? So this is where economics come in.
Okay. So from a medical standpoint, how significant is this particular economics in our workplace?
I can't overemphasize it because in healthcare we say prevention
is better than
cure. And with the use of economics, we prevent a lot of muscular-related issues. So right from neck pain, to shoulder pain, elbow pain, lower back pain, and all that could be prevented. Increasing cost of healthcare, hospital visits, work absenteeism, and effects on productivity. Yes. So we cannot overemphasize economics and its role in making sure that the worker is fit to do the work.
Now you sit in the consulting room almost on a daily basis. You consult for, you meet staff every day who come with various ailments and all that. Can you tell us what's the most predominant as far as this particular issue is concerned?
Okay, well the issues are quite varied depending on the department the staff is. But I can tell you for a fact that most of the people in the offices come with low back pain.
Okay.
We have a lot of people with eye pain, neck pain, shoulder pains. But the main issue we tend to see is low back pain. So as part of our workup for the patient, we always take our occupational history. And we ask, what do you do? How do you contribute in the authority?
Right.
So when we realize that your work is probably computer-based, then we'll take it from there.
Right.
Yes.
Right. So the most common health risks, what are they? One, you just mentioned.
Okay. So the commonest of all is the low back pain. Very common. I think that per day you see not less than 20 people coming with low back pain.
Right.
And of course, it's not just the people in the offices. It's also the people operating the heavy-duty machinery.
Right.
And all that.
Right.
Aside that, the people mostly from the offices come with a lot of eye pain as well because they sit for prolonged periods behind their desks, behind their PCs. And then we have a few who come with shoulder stiffness. We have a few who come with knee pains and all that. But it's all related to the sitting posture and what they do in the office.
Right. Let me come to Mr. Taino. Prior to coming here, or in the course of last week, your team went around the offices, visited us, gave us some pep talks on, health and safety at work and your posturing and all that and what you should be doing. And even distributed some leaflets, outlining some of the things that we should be doing while at work so that we can ease, some of the challenges that we face in terms of sitting for long and all that. Did you foresee that this was one of the key challenges? For instance, I saw in one of the leaflets that you have to, when you sit for a while, you have to stand up, walk around a while and, stretch and all that. Did you foresee that this was one of the key challenges before you rolled out this particular, campaign?
Not necessarily, but, we do a lot of operational observations.
Right.
Yes, we go into the port, we observe how port workers or dockers work.
Yes.
We visit some of these offices and we see how they sit.
Yes.
You go to an office and you see people slouching in their chairs, sitting awkwardly, and basically, if you adapt these postures, obviously you are going to run into some of these issues. So it's because of our observations we've done over the period.
Yes.
And we're able to establish that these are key things that we need to highlight during this campaign.
Yes. All right. So in terms of your approach to fire and safety management, how has the increasing use of technology impacted that?
Let me take you back a bit. When I came into the port, it was in the 2000s or so, most of port operations were done manually. Yes, you didn't have all these machines, these sophisticated machines all over. You see people, even when it comes to container operations, people get on board you have about 10 people who are actually guiding the spreaders to connect to the containers. And all these things were done manually.
Right.
So over the period, with modern technology, with the coming on stream, these mobile cranes and these STS and all that, all these things have actually improved port operations. Now, instead of needing about 10 or 20 people to do a particular job, just about 2 or 3 can do that job.
Yes.
And when it happens that way, at least it reduces the exposure or risk exposure to these dockers who are working on these cargo vessels. Also, we've tried to use these platforms, the Outlook platform, the WhatsApp platforms extensively, because these are all modern technologies that we have to disseminate information to staff. So over the period, we've leveraged on modern technology to improve upon how we disseminate information, safety information to staff.
All right, let me come to Mr. Akodi and find out from you how the IT department is collaborating with the fire and safety department and indeed other departments, to ensure, to integrate digital safety into the broader safety culture of Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority. Yes.
So, as the Deputy Port Fire and Safety Manager just indicated, over the years we have seen a revolution in terms of the introduction of technology.
Absolutely.
We are aware of the cyber risk and some of the other risks that he talked about in terms of the continuous use of the screens and all of that. What we have been doing is education and awareness. In fact, there's something we call acceptable use policy. For every onboarding, that is, if a new employee is getting onboarded, you will be required to sign the acceptable use policy.
Right.
That contains some relevant statements on cyber security.
Right.
So we'll be able to protect the environment, also protect the IT assets that you're going to use. Over the period, we have used the electronic media we have, that is the emails, our social platforms, to disseminate information regarding cyber awareness.
Right.
In fact, somewhere last year, we embarked upon massive education and sensitization. In the process, we trained several staff.
Right.
And that is also continuing this year. So we are collaborating to a greater extent to make sure we all assist in this process.
Let's take a look at the main digital safety risks that employees must be aware of while working with technology at work.
Yes.
I noticed these days you've done a whole lot. You've come up with some tidbits. Once you are in the office, your screen is there. This role, I mean, they are kind of like the screensaver or something.
Yes.
That's what you see until you enter your password, perhaps, to work.
Yes. Yes. So we've been doing a lot of that. Most of the risk, in fact, when you read a lot of literature around, you will get to know that most of the cyber crimes that occur result from people within the organizations. Okay, they are the ones who cause this. In that regard, there are specific things that happen. You have phishing mails that seek to steal some information from you. You receive an email and it says that it's from Dr. Dompre, but when you look at the way the mail is couched, you are not even expecting a mail from him.
Yeah, even the English alone is
very
not,
good. So we provide education in some of these areas. We have malware attacks that also come. We have ransomwares that would attack our systems, and then they would, in the end, want to demand some ransom is paid before they release you, so to speak. So we continue to increase education on some of these. I've talked about the insider threats, data leakage. Sometimes some staff do not know that all the data on the computers they are using belongs to the authority. And so there are attempts to probably take the data somewhere. So we'll continue to educate them on some of these areas.
Yeah.
And in fact, that is one of the things you mentioned.
Yes.
Recently, one of the things we did was to introduce multi-factor authentication. So that what we are saying is that your normal username and password is not enough.
Yes.
There is a third layer,
Yeah.
which is
Your
a
phone.
code to your phone.
Exactly.
And I'm sure
that's what we use. Initially, in fact, the first day I got confused and I got angry. But I mean, along the line, I became very used to it. And then,
Yes.
so before I even enter my password, I open the authenticator on my phone, just waiting, so that once I enter and the number comes, I just the code comes, I just enter it and I'm good. Yeah, which is a
So
good thing, yeah.
with this, we are just saying that, look, we are introducing digital solutions to ease the work you do, to facilitate it.
Right.
But there is a little price you have to also pay as a
Yeah,
staff,
yeah.
so that we can all safeguard the properties of the authority, including our own selves anyway. Thank you.
Right. So let me come to Dr. Capt. Dompre and find out from you the simple practical measures employees can take to prevent long-term health problems associated with, poor posture, as it were.
All right. So, like we said initially, prevention. So, we advise that right from you sitting behind your PC, you should be properly seated. So your feet should be firmly, on the ground. You shouldn't be hanging. Your thighs should be parallel to the ground. Your back should be erect. You should have your lumbar support.
Yeah.
And then your arms should be properly supported. Right. And some of the things we need to do to prevent injury is to do the 20-20-20 principle, which is to every 20 minutes look away from your PC at maybe an object about 20 feet away,
right,
for about 20 seconds, and then come back. All these helps the eyes to recalibrate so that you don't get prolonged damage. We also say that take micro breaks. So, for example, I do an 8-hour shift. I'm not supposed to be seated for 8 straight hours.
Right.
So, sit for an hour, go for a little stroll, go for a little stretch, and then come back, and then continue your work.
Right.
And then also that we should take our water breaks. We should make sure we are properly hydrated and all that. So I believe that with these simple measures in place, we should be all right to do our work.
Right. Okay, so this is our report here on Metro TV, and tonight we are taking a look at the impact of digitalization on the health and safety of port workers, coming on the heels of the 2025 World Health and Safety Day. This was celebrated or marked, so to speak, at the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority, and the team we've assembled this evening to do the access to this particular topic. I introduce them to you, Dr. Capt. Dompre Ofori, Senior Medical Officer and Clinical Coordinator, Health Services Department, Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority, Mr. Andrew Taino, Deputy Fire and Safety Manager, Port of Tema, and indeed, Mr. Justice Awosomviri Akodia, Corporate IT Manager, GPHA. They are the 3 gentlemen we're having a discussion with tonight. We're going for a quick break. When we return, we'll continue the show. Please do stay with us.
Energy brings you quality choices with Goil Super XP, available in many Goil stations nationwide. It is fortified with special additives that help your engine perform better and use less fuel. Branch into a Goil station today and energize your ride with Goil Super XP, compatible with most vehicles. Goil Super XP, Wufilia, huh? Wubefeel. Goil, good energy. Yeah, yeah.
Electricity, then pay your taxes. Yeah. Our taxes, our future.
Because you see, without our taxes, we wouldn't have good roads, good schools, better hospitals, street lights, and other very important social amenities. When we pay our taxes, we give our children free and quality education. Talga, my money too small. Why should I pay my tax? Look, small. Salifo, it doesn't matter how small or big your business or income is. You still have to pay your taxes. The little taxes from each and every one of us, when put together, could give your community clean water or that deprived school with tables and chairs. Please Please pay your taxes. It is your responsibility. It is your civic duty. It is the law.
MPS Terminal 3 is Africa's new state-of-the-art container terminal at Tema Port. For manufacturers, agro-processors and traders, the new port means business can be done faster. This infrastructure boost will improve Ghana's port handling capacity, connect more trading routes, and oil the engine of growth for the economy, creating greater opportunities across all sectors as Africa's markets merge and become the largest trading bloc globally. MPS, we connect, you thrive.
Business and life can be like the sea sometimes. Sometimes serene, sometimes calm, sometimes turbulent, and at times it brings the unexpected. However it is like, trust Phoenix Insurance for your home, car, business, and marine insurance needs. Call 0302-246-319 or 0243-690-492.
At Phoenix, you experience a delightful service delivered with wisdom.
All right, so welcome back. We are still on Iron Port, and I've been told by the production team that we can activate the phone lines for you to call in. The number to dial would be shown right here on your screen, 0245834980. That's right here on your screen, 0245834980. You can call in and contribute to the discussion. And pretty shortly, we shall also go into the inbox and come your way with the messages that you've sent to us, so we can get some responses from our guests in the studios tonight. Let me go to Mr. Akodia once again and get you to tell us what measures that are in place to ensure cybersecurity does not become a hidden health and stress risk for employees.
Okay, thank you very much once again, Ken. I think that in the course of this discussion, so for us, we are looking at education, sensitization. In fact, we've decided to decentralize it. And apart from the normal emails, the messages that pop up on your screen that provide some awareness and education,
yes,
we've taken advantage of small groupings in the port, meetings, training programs, and then we'll come and do 5 minutes, 10 minutes to continue to sensitize the users of the port. And this is not just our staff.
Yeah.
Okay, we have other port users, and it is important to bring all of them along. We've also invested in firewall solutions to serve as a first layer of security to check cybercrime, to prevent unauthorized entry, and that is the first layer that sees it. We know that when we continue to expand education and sensitization, we'll be able to go a long way so that together we'll protect the assets we have.
Yes.
So basically, these are some of the things we have in place to going forward.
Right. Let me come to Dr. Dompre and find out from you how GPHA is positioned, supporting workers to maintain better physical and mental health amid increasing digitalization.
a healthy workforce, points to productivity.
Yes.
So we have provided adjustable chairs for all the offices.
Right.
And for those staff who have, over the course of their duty, had various chronic musculoskeletal problems, we provided special ergonomic chairs,
right,
so that they can sit through and do their work.
Right.
Staff also have access to occupational health clinics, counseling services. And then the public health unit of the department also does a sensitization and then a campaign,
right,
so that people are aware of posture issues, how to sit and all that. And then the authority has also provided a gym where staff are encouraged to exercise,
yes,
and to keep fit. And then lastly, we have specialist services and physiotherapy services,
yes,
at the International Maritime Hospital,
yeah,
for staff who have developed musculoskeletal issues.
Right. Right. Awesome. Thank you very much indeed. Mr. Teno, can you tell us how important ongoing staff training is in maintaining high safety standards and in a digitally transforming environment like ours?
For me, training is very important. It's key. Because if people are not aware of the tools or the equipment they are using, then you could just imagine there will be high rate of incidents and injuries on the job. So training is key.
Yes.
What it does is that it reduces human error, one. It also gives the opportunity for the worker to develop his skills and competency.
Yeah.
Because if a worker is operating a machine that he has no knowledge on, definitely he's going to wrongly operate the machine. And it's obviously when you wrongly operate the machine, then you know where we are heading towards. So training is key, and it is part of driving the safety culture within an organization.
Right.
Because when you train people, they have that sense of belongingness. They understand what they are doing. They are always updated, especially with this emerging technology. It's very important that staff are trained on how to use these equipment. And for me, the port has invested a lot in that. I must say GPHA has invested a lot in training.
Right.
Because of some of the machines, these machines are very sophisticated. And you need some level of knowledge to enable you to operate these machines. So for me, training is key, and it's part of our safety training program. Without it, then it's going to affect productivity.
Yes.
And if people are losing their lives because they are not knowledgeable on the machines they are working on, it will have a direct effect on the organization productivity. So for me, training is key.
In terms of operations, as far as fire management is concerned, I know that GPHA is fire and safety department is one of the best in the country. Have you had occasions where you've been called to national duty, where perhaps there's an incident and the National Fire Service is there, but they also call for backup or support from us, from GPHA?
Yes. Thanks for the commendation anyway. Exactly, we do so because we are in constant collaboration with them. We know we work in an industrial area.
Yes.
Yes. We all know the situation of the National Fire Service as a date in terms of equipment fleet. So they mostly rely on us,
right,
for support, operational support. And we are thankful for the authority for providing us all this equipment.
Yes.
We even have a smoke chamber. Yes, something like a simulator.
Right.
Yes, to simulate various fire situations and how to deal with them. And sometimes they do come, they fall on us, yes, to use most of these facilities. So we are in constant touch with them. We collaborate on most of the things. And there are some situations where we have to even respond all the way to Accra.
Yes.
To support them.
Yes.
So we offer that support.
Were you part of the team that fought the fire at Circle?
Yeah, exactly. We were there.
Okay.
We actually deployed our water tanker. And to a large extent, our fire tender too was there to support them.
Awesome. All right, so let's do some messages briefly, and then we'll come back in studio. This one says, this discussion is so timely. We often overlook how long hours on computers affect our backs and eyes. More awareness is needed at all levels. This one's from Abba Jackson in Takoradi. Kudos to GPHA for raising these issues. I think regular economic assessments should be part of staff welfare now. Bridget and Afenia sent in this one. And this one says, very engaging show. Can the team talk a bit more about stress and screen fatigue too? This one is from Kwamina in Tema. Who will take it up?
In fact, what has happened over the period is we had a lot of staff coming in with all sorts of eye-related problems.
Right.
Eyeball pain, tearing, and all that. So we have a third-party eye care service that we refer them to. And we've seen over the periods that they've prescribed a lot of lenses for them, people to wear, spectacles that have UV light protective mechanism so that the eye strain is limited.
Yeah.
And of course, on the subject of stress, we always say that, that's why we have the gym. We say that go out there, exercise the body. You have any issue, reach out, and then let's see how best we can assist.
Right. Anybody has anything to add?
I think on the continuous use of the screen, I think Doc in his earlier submission indicated that there is a need to take intermittent breaks. He mentioned the 20-20-20 principle.
Yes.
And so continuous use on the screen, even though it is a useful tool, there are side effects.
Yes.
And so let us all be mindful. There are some levels of distraction. When you get there, you may not be able to have your sight recover.
Yeah.
And so it is important that we take this into consideration.
Right. Okay.
Okay, let me just add, and also as part of our campaign, we stress on the need to take ergonomic breaks.
Yes.
As Dr. Riley cited. It is important because people want to meet their boss's schedules.
Yes.
So they want to sit
long
for
hours.
a long period behind their PC. So at least just a normal stretch.
But that's
1 hour, 5 minutes.
That's what you have to do if your boss is on your neck.
Oh, but your health is equally important.
That's true.
At least you don't need to basically get out of the office.
Right.
You can be just around your desk and just do some stretch here and there, just to keep your eye off the screen a bit.
Yeah.
Because it's very important we do that.
Okay.
Our health is equally important.
Okay. Before I continue, Doc, what's the right sitting posture if you're in the office?
All right, so right sitting posture. So it starts with the chair. So you make sure that your chair is adjusted such that your legs are firmly on the ground. And they are not hanging or your legs are not bent. They are firmly on the ground.
Yes.
And then also your lumbar support is properly supported. And then, of course, the arms are also properly supported.
Right.
And then we've seen that to avoid strain, the monitor must be such that your eye level is at the very top.
Okay.
And then your wrists are in a neutral position over the mouse and over the keyboard. So that's how it should be. But you see that most of the people are either too close to the PC or for some reasons maybe the chair is not adjustable so their feet are hanging. Or instead of sitting such that their lumbar spine is supported, they sit at the edge of the chair.
Right.
And with time, they get all these injuries.
Now, there's also this advice or caution that once you face the screen every day, you probably should wear sunglasses.
I think that over the period, technology has improved such that the screens are quite safe to use. But like we have all said, practice the 20-20-20.
Right.
Don't focus on the screen for too long. Because over a period, your eye muscles will get tired, the strain and all that. So after every 20 minutes, refocus elsewhere and then come back.
Right. Okay. All right. So this one, Kwabna Nchibu is watching on Facebook. He says he's from Ashaiman, Lebanon. He says, good evening, Iron Port. I wanted to acknowledge Dr. Dompreo for his dedication. His hard work, kindness, humility, and commitment to his work are truly commendable. May God bless him for his efforts. And Samid Akwa says, very informative. I'm glad to have joined. Well, thank you very much, gentlemen, for sending in your messages. You can also send in your message, and we'll be glad to share it with the rest of the world. Let's continue with the messages. This one says, okay, so we've spoken about it already. What role do supervisors play in enforcing digital safety standards at the ports? Bethel in Tema sent in this one.
Okay, so that is quite a tricky one because most of these activities, it is between you and your computing device.
Right.
Often, unless probably someone is standing by and has seen you engage in a practice that is not consistent with what is required. As part of the measures we have put in place, we want everyone to be on board so that it shouldn't be that there's only personnel from the IT department that will have to provide awareness and sensitization. So if you are in the same office, you may not necessarily be a supervisor. If you are in the same office with people, sometimes we receive interns, we receive national service persons, and it is also our duty to make sure we create cyber awareness amongst them.
Right.
Thank you.
Right. Okay. This one says, can digital tools themselves cause safety risks? For example, delays or distractions in manual operations? Abu Peter in Ashaiman sent in this one.
Yeah. Okay, let me take that. Yes, it can, because that's why we lay so much emphasis on avoiding distractions.
Right.
Because if you are distracted, definitely you don't focus on the task that you are engaged in. So distraction can actually affect manual handling. If you are handling cargo and your eyes is off what you are doing, definitely you might not carry the load properly.
Yes.
Just to emphasize on the role of supervisors, supervisors play a very key role because they are like line managers between management and those down there. That is why we are focusing more on safety leadership.
Yeah.
As a leader, you need to have interest in the people you work with. Safety, if you don't have love for humanity, you can't instill safety because you have to observe their behaviors. How well best do you influence their behaviors? Because as a supervisor, you need to take the lead. You need to have an influence on the people that you lead. If you preach safety and you do otherwise, definitely you lose that trust between you and your workforce.
Sure.
So supervisors have got a key role to play. They have to be inspirational. They have to provide that vision and ensure that they do the right things for their followers to follow as such. So supervisors play a very key role in ensuring the safety culture of the organization.
Awesome. Is there anything that anybody want to add? Other than that, we still be on Facebook. This one is from, Emmanuel Nyako Gansa. He says, the fire officer speaks very well and looks more learned. Okay. All right. This is Akalbla Isaac Akalga says ACFO. That's Assistant Chief Fire Officer. Is that your okay? 10. Well done, sir. Okay. And Christian Scrabbles Quay says, then advisably, the medical team should link up with the Estate and Environment Department to provide us with the Ego Mesh office chairs. I don't know what that.
Ergonomic chairs.
Other than GPHA, it's the Estate Department that procures the furniture, including the chairs.
Yes.
And I must say that we've had a few instances where people have reported that their chairs are not good.
Yes.
We have contacted it. Estate, and they have promptly replaced those chairs. So let me just use this medium to reach out to our staff that if you are in any office and your chair is not good, let us be aware, and then we'll do the right promptings.
Right. Okay. Thank you very much. This one is from Dennis Mensa Moshosho. He says, well done, sir. Okay, thank you very much for joining us via Facebook. You all, we are grateful to you. You can also still send in your message. We have barely some 10, 12 minutes to wrap up. But let me come to Doc and find out from you. Beyond economics, are there emerging occupational health concerns GPHA should be preparing for?
Well, I mean, There are a number of issues. We know that digitalization has come to make our work easy, but the usual head challenges are still there. And what probably digitalization has worsened is sitting for long periods, sedentary work. And we know that sedentary work has its effect, especially on the non-communicable diseases. So we have upsurge of hypertension, diabetes, with its related complications. We still have incidents of accidents and incidents in the port. We have minor accidents, major accidents, and a few being fatal. And of course, the port environment is quite stressful. So we have a lot of staff who come, all sorts of complaints and symptoms, but you narrow down and you see that really this is just stress.
Right.
So to avoid worker burnout, give them some few days of work, a bit of counseling here and there, and then they are good to go. And then we've also seen that our staff who use heavy machinery in the field, some of them tend to have also hearing deficits.
Right.
So proactively, every year or two, we screen such staff, and then we encourage that they use their appropriate PPEs, and then staff with deficits are either, rotated to different job zones or given hearing aids.
Once you do that, are they able to regain their hearing? Do they recover? Or
it depends on the extent of damage, but we've seen that PPE use of the noise mufflers is quite a bit of a challenge. They may have it, but I don't know
they don't want to use it.
They don't want to use it. So proactively, every year or two, we do the hearing assessment, and then we encourage the use of the PPEs. And those with deficits, we try to manage. But I must say that once we do the job rotations, they are good to go.
As a way of mitigating some of these impacts, for instance, sitting for long, Mr. Akodia, do you foresee in the near future where people would be asked to perhaps work remotely? For instance, I'm lying in my bed and doing my work as I'm supposed to do. Once I have my internet, I'm good to go. Do you foresee something like that so that we can reduce some of these risks?
Yes. So remote working or working remotely has actually come to stay. I recall, especially during COVID, the authority started it.
Right.
And then later, when normalcy was restored, we came back to our regular. And even post-COVID, there are times we work remotely.
Right.
When, for some reason, you are not physically in the office, we have provided enough tools, laptops, and VPN connections for staff to be able to work from anywhere they are, depending on your schedule. Of course, if your schedule is a physical one, you must be on-prem. Let me indicate that in itself does not really solve the problem. Because if you're at home and your cell was set for long, then...
No, that's why I said I'm lying on my bed and doing my work.
That's the wrong posture.
I'm lying in bed,
And if you also lie in bed, you have your neck raised this way.
Right.
You have problems with your neck for a long time. So I think we have to always go back to the 20-20-20 principle.
Right.
And that should be quite useful. But working remotely is something that has caught up with us.
Yes.
Several organizations were not prepared until COVID struck, and that forced us into providing more solutions for staff to be able to work remotely. And for us at IT, we'll continue to expand it, to encourage it, and I'm sure, of course, there are benefits to the organization, because if you are working from home, what it means is that you are not using the power belonging to the company, water, other resources. Okay, and then staff also have a more relaxed environment to work from.
Right. Thank you very much indeed. Let me come to Mr. Taino and find out from you, with the increase in digital equipment and installations at the port, how is GPHA adopting its fire safety protocols to new types of risks like electrical fires and all that?
Basically, most...
We are told that electrical fires can be some of the most deadly.
Exactly. It can run a whole company down.
Yeah.
So, most of our machines in the port are driven by power. Without power, the port will cease to exist.
Right.
With our machines, our data centers, the substations. So it's relevant that we have to provide fire mitigation measures for all these facilities.
Right.
Because of modern technology, we've been able to install these fire sensors or fire detectors just to sense the fire before it even engulfs the whole facility.
Absolutely.
We have these fire detections. These are sensors. We have even air sampling devices.
Right.
That will sample the environment, the gas within the environment, whether it's smoke or maybe it's a different thing altogether, before it even activates the alarm.
Yes.
We even have fire suppression systems in most of these facilities because these are critical facilities of the port. If the data center should run down, then you could just imagine the IT manager is here. Is a multi-million-dollar investment. So we have to protect this critical equipment.
Absolutely. Let's go to Tema and welcome Peter. Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Awesome. Please shoot.
Yeah, my name is Peter, as you rightly said.
Right.
Dr. Kisi, I'm greeting you. This is your brother, Peter.
Hi, Peter.
Yeah. Yeah, I just tuned in and I saw the topic of the program. In fact, digitalization has really helped us, even for some of us, the workers of GPHA. I can remember those days, your folder would be at probably Clinic B.
Yeah.
Then you may forget.
And go to
then you go
clinic.
to Clinic A, and they'll tell you your folder is at Clinic B. You have to move to and flow. So when they brought in this new system, it has really helped us. And I'm grateful to the digital team. They've done well. Yeah. Thank you.
Right. Thank you very much indeed. Yes. So you were on the investments, heavy investments in IT.
And yes. So wherever you have power, there's a risk of fire happening. So the port has invested a lot in these fire mitigation measures. So all the facilities that are springing up, we try to integrate this fire detection and suppression system in them. And because of modern technology, I could be here, I could actually monitor exactly what is happening in all the substations.
Right.
So real time, just in time information. For me to know exactly what is happening so that we can offer quick response.
Right.
Yes, because we don't want to run down the entire facility. And technology has helped us to achieve this particular objective.
Absolutely. Yeah. Awesome. Let me come to Mr. Kodia. Maybe your last one. As the ports become more automated, what future digital innovations are expected, and how is GPHA preparing workers for the shift in safety? But before you come in, let's pick a call, our last call from Tema. In fact, I don't know why they waited till when we are about closing. Hello.
Hello.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Please shoot.
Yeah, my name is Gideon, calling from...
Gideon, okay. Right.
Please, they talk about when the machine is, you near the machine too much, there is a fate that you will get. But
come again, please.
They talk about safety, about nearing the machine too much.
Okay, getting close to the machine, okay.
Yeah, so I want to know when the light is off, the light is off but your UPS is working. So can you continue to work or you should stop working?
Okay, all right. Thank you very much. I think he's referring to the computer when you're on the screen.
Yes.
When the light goes off, you have to also take a break or you'd have to continue.
Yes. So that is the reason we provided the UPS. The UPS, we have two types. We have the centralized ones, which are bigger. If you are hooked to the centralized one, which is bigger, it's able to hold power for a long time. It means you should be able to do whatever you are doing, you wind up.
Right.
If you are using the smaller one, you still will be able to continue. But you recall that as time passes, the intervals of the beep would decrease.
Yes.
And so it will be warning you that you need to wind up. The reason we provided those things is to provide some cushioning.
Yes.
Okay, and then also as a form of a backup. Okay, so that just imagine if you are doing in the middle of something critical and then power goes off and everything is off.
You haven't saved,
and in some cases, I remember the very old versions of Word, you would have lost everything.
Yeah, that's true.
So it is just for you to prepare and wind up.
Right.
Of course, you can't use it for a whole day.
That's true.
Because it will run down and then, so basically, when the main power goes off, your cell can continue to work.
Yeah.
But it's just a warning that just wind up in about 2-3 hours.
Okay.
But in most cases, in what we have in place, in most cases, the gensets kick in unless there is an issue.
Right. Okay, so to my substantive question, which is the last one, we have barely 1 minute or 30 seconds to wrap up.
Yes. So, in fact, we are at the verge of enhancing our gate automation system to take some burden off port security staff who will have to physically examine some relevant documents.
Yes.
And gate automation in port operations is a critical thing. And I'm sure in the coming months we will enhance it. And that is one of the things we are seeking to do.
Yes.
We are having discussions on digital twin, which would help us to centrally monitor the health of every equipment through the use of sensors and then Internet of Things. We are discussing automation of port operations. You go to Rotterdam, you go to Antwerp, and you have people in a room, and the cranes are working without with limited human interaction. And that is the direction we are all looking at. And I'm sure in the coming years, users of the port will see difference.
Absolutely. Awesome. Thank you very much indeed. Doc, just one word and close. Do you have any final closing word? We have 30 seconds to...
Okay, so I would say prevention.
Yes.
Take your breaks, do your stretches, sit properly, and of course, call on us at Health Services for any health-related issues.
Mr. Teno.
I think we should always promote safety wherever we find ourselves.
Absolutely.
Let's make sure we inculcate that in most of our work processes so that we stay safe for the organization.
Awesome. All right, so that's how we draw the curtain on this week's edition of Iron Port here on Metropolitan Television. Remember, we're discussing the impact of digitalization on the health and safety of port workers. With us in the studios have been Dr. Kisi Dompre Ofori, Senior Medical Officer and Clinical Coordinator, Health Services Department, Ghana Port and Harbours Authority. Indeed, Mr. Andrew Steno, Deputy Fire and Safety Manager, Port of Tema, and Mr. Justice Awosumviri Akodia, Corporate IT Manager, Ghana Port and Harbours Authority. Gentlemen, thank you very much for coming. We entreat you to watch the abridged version of Iron Port on Wednesday at 8:30 p.m. on Ghana Television. We'll say a big thanks to our sponsors, Ghana Revenue Authority, GDLC PLC, Serene Insurance, Ghana Link Network Services, Meridian Port Services, MPS, and indeed Felix Insurance. Remember, God willing, next week we shall bounce back with another wonderful edition of your favorite Iron Port program. We say thank you so much for choosing us and enjoy the rest of our programs. God willing, next week we'll see you and we say have a blessed week ahead. My name is Kennedy Mona. Good evening.